Why we gotta become stronger. Okay. All right. Some of y'all ask me how I know that. How you know that, Deke?
How you know that, D?
Okay. I'm gonna tell y'all how I know that. Hands in the air, everyone that took the COVID-19. Okay. All right, brothers. Y'all don't be scared. Yo, listen. I'm gonna show you all why we gotta become stronger. Right? Now, the COVID-19, we told you all know that shot could get you killed, right? But we let you all know if you all go do that, that's on you all. But we let you all know, listen, not to do that. You could get, that thing could kill you. You understand? So the government made laws, right? The government said, force its population to go get vaccinated. Otherwise, you can't work. You can't go into certain stores. You cannot go to the doctor. You can't go to the dentist. You could lose your job. And you could end up losing, then you lose your job, you end up losing what? Your house. You can't make money, you can't buy yourself. Right? You got a sister, she was going to college. They tell her, listen, you can't come to the college no more unless you show you have been vaccinated. So the sister went and she got vaccinated. I told a brother that was calling her, I said, yo, that was a test. How far would you go, brothers and sisters? Because brothers and sisters that try to hold on to their job, do you know some people say they'd rather lose their job than to get that vaccination? And they didn't. It's similar. That was forced vaccination. And those of you all that don't want to lose your house, you got your college and you want to have that, you got the American dream and so forth, and you went and you got that vaccination. If they bring the mark of the beast right now, some of you all might take it and say, God will understand. And when I say the mark of the beast, I'm talking about force worship. You understand? Force worship, where they set it up where you cannot buy certain things. You can't buy a house. But man, I've been saving, working so hard to try to get a house. But listen, if you do not follow this system, you can't get that house. You understand? So some of you all, hey, remember what Christ said, you got to be willing to lose everything. So some of you, so you brothers and sisters that fall for that test run, it means you got to strengthen yourself. You got to strengthen yourself because now it's coming out that the COVID-19 killing people, right? The vaccination killing people. And now the government is being sued. You got Fauci, got pardon, all type of crazy stuff. It was a trap to kill us. That's a setup, bro. You understand? But guess what? Forced vaccination, those of you all that bend beneath it, your spirit is weak. You understand? And you need to strengthen yourself. You understand? You just strengthen yourself. Just watch it at them. This was a test. I did it. My boss forced me. The government forced me to get vaccinated, and I went and did it. Okay? So, the mark of the beast, the ultimate form is going into what? Force worship.
All right, giving all praises to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shah, Bahashim Hakwadash, and double honors to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So then the question that I have, or that we may have, is, now you heard at the beginning where he said that they claim that they warned their congregation not to take it because they could lose their life. Well, when the whole thing was going on, we was looking to see who's going to counsel and what they're going to counsel their congregation to do what or to say what. Now, Great Millstone's stance was very firm. The answer was a hard no, and you got to go in faith. And when it came to, say, like other groups like IUIC, they actually endorsed it, and they said that you should take it, and we know why they said that. And then on top of it, you basically, from our experience, from our observation, when it came to this group here, IUIC, they were silent on the topic. They were silent on it. If they did counsel anybody or whatever, it was probably off camera. But the last you could say counsel that you had during that time of proof was that when Bishop Nathaniel was, he answered, I think he answered a letter from a sister, and it's on YouTube. A woman in his congregation asked that if it's okay for her to take those to work like a nursing job or something like that. And Bishop Nathaniel said that if you want to work in that field, then you just got to do it, because they do it when they want to travel here, travel there. So he's like, just take it, just take it. He's like, or if you don't want to, then leave that profession, leave that field, or wherever it is. So like what you could take from that is he advised that you know, for the sake of your job, you should do it if you want to, you know? So when it came to 2020, year 2020, when they was rolling it out, we was looking to see what they were going to instruct their congregation, but you had testimonies actually of a brother in Great Millstone who was talking to another man in IUIC, and he gave him testimony that he said that when he went to go get it, that he felt like his spirit left him, like his faith left him, and this because, and like I said, we was looking. I doubt it's. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not saying that what he's saying isn't true, but when it comes to it being recorded, like we don't. I don't remember seeing IUIC giving any firm stance at all when it came to that of what to take and what to do and what not to do, because you basically left your congregation in a confused state. You know what I'm saying? Even then, if you told them, if you take it, that's on y'all, that still just goes to show you that, because that's the whole point of it, still just goes to show you that this is the risk you take when you're listening to an Israelite group that has been compromised. Compromised meaning they've made a deal with Esau Edom. I could tell you why I believe that they didn't come out firmly like Great Millstone did. Why they didn't come out firmly and just tell people hard no, okay, and use scriptures to say nope, go in faith, be willing to sacrifice, be willing to lose it all. And that's because they have a 501c3. And with that 501c3, okay, just like when it comes to the microchip, notice he'll do all this talking about forced worship, but they just can't link it to a microchip. They just can't do it. And I believe it's because, just like when it came back to the jab, they can't not be on camera having record of them saying to speak against something that the government is rolling out. That's why when it comes to the chip, they just can't even hint that, they don't talk about it because it's something that's soon to be rolled out. And they don't want to be on record speaking against a future policy of Babylon the Great. So that's why during the 2020, that's why they didn't come out firmly and say no, don't do it, no, don't do it, y'all, it's a trap. They kept silent, and that's because they didn't want to jeopardize their 501c3 because they are compromised. And you see, this is the risk behind it, because they left their congregation, they left you all who follow that group, they left you all up just, I don't know, do what you want to do, I don't know. And then you're going off of what your leadership told you, and they basically said, well, I guess they ain't really telling us not to, so I guess if we do it, then we got to do it. And it's only because it's 5 years later that they believe it's safe to speak about now. To say now, that was a test, And if you took that, that means you had low faith. Well, what was your counsel at to instruct your congregation on what to do and what not to do? Like I said, he claims that they said not to. I don't remember seeing that, because we was looking. Okay. And then if so, how come you have testimonies of people in your congregation going back to the spirit world? Where is you to step up and say, this is why we told you all not to do that? Where was that at? No, man, I'm going to go as far as say there is no videos of you counseling your congregation not to take it because you had that 501c3, and only after the fact you believe it's safe to speak about it now. That's dangerous. That's dangerous to follow a group like that, and that's because they're compromised. That's why Isaiah 56 says, verse 10 says, his watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant, they are all dumb dogs, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. Okay, a dog that won't bark won't let you know that there's a stranger on the premises. They kept their mouths shut because they had what? The 501c3. So they didn't counsel their congregation on what to do or what not to do. They're going to wait till 5 years after the fact to try to say, if you did that, you lacked faith. Well, why didn't you all step up as the leadership, as the leaders, and sound the alarm on what the devil was going to do and what he was trying to do? You want to know why? Because I'm willing to bet some of your men in your leadership got it, and you know it. You know that there's men in your leadership right now that took that because you're going off the counsel of what your leader said. And if your leader said, then do whatever you got to do, then that just shows you that they don't have the understanding of the scriptures, because they're more concerned. They don't have it. That's poor leadership. Because what about all the people that either went back to the spirit world or got damaged because of that, and they follow your congregation, and they're going to look back at you and say, well, my leadership really didn't say anything about it, or my leadership, I have record of them saying that if I got to do what I got to do, then I got to do what I got to do. And then only after the fact you're going to come back and say, that was a test. Well, isn't your job to sound the alarm? He says, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his own gain. It's like everyone for his gain from his quarter. And I just know, okay, that behind the scenes, just like what happened at IUIC, when they brought that through, they sat together and they said, we gotta. Well, IUIC said, look, we just gonna tell the people to do it because of that money. They want to maintain that status of the 501c3. All right. And then even Captain Tazariak went to go and I guess get it himself and teach his men as well to say, do it. But then when you get over there to the IUIC, you just know they had a council behind the scenes and say, look, we can't go on camera and talk about not doing it, because if we do that, then, we jeopardizing, so we can't do that. So what was your congregation, the sheep, what were they left in? They were left with really no guidance. And you're supposed to be the shepherds. You're supposed to stand up in that time to speak. That's your job. If you call yourself a leadership, why were you silent? And where is the actual footage of you yelling to the rooftops of saying, do not take that? This man's the devil. He's trying to kill us. Show us that. This is why it's dangerous on who you follow. It's how should I say? You have to be very mindful of who it is you following, because these false shepherds are only after their own gain and after their own quarter. It's about what them and what they want. You sheep are just dead last. They really don't care about you. And that's what you're really finding out. Now that as time we get more and more to the end, you're finding out that these guys only care about themselves. The former falsified persona, the act of chief priest Alazar, the Lord commit a character assassination, got that personality, got him out of here. Now he's gone. He's a streamer now, talking about nothing. Do you really think that this whole time he was actually in the truth? No, he was playing a role. He was acting. He used the truth as an opportunity to make money, to play an act, to play a role. The Lord got rid of him, so now he's shifting to another act so that he can keep trying to make more money. Him and his other groups, you're gonna find out the extensions of Sakara. Even if they change the name Genesis and all that, you're gonna find out they're only in it for their own gain, for themselves. They only care about what they get out of it. They don't care about the actual congregation. And when things start getting rough, they're going to disappear. They're going to collect, they're going to cash in, and they're going to disappear because they're only in it for themselves. They don't care about the sheep. Verse 12, it says, come ye, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, and tomorrow shall be as this day and much more abundant. So all they care about is filling their own gain and their own quarter. They don't care about the congregation. IUIC didn't sit there and say, look, we can get in trouble for this with our federal statute, but for the sake of the congregation, we got to tell these people, or we got to tell our congregation not to take this, not to take that. We can't have them do that, because this is, the scripture says, never trust thine enemy. So you would have went on public, you would have went live and said, this, that, and that. Don't take it. Don't take it. There is no footage of you all speaking against it. Show me the video of Bishop Nathaniel, because he should be number one, right? He should be number one. Bishop Nathaniel on camera and say, do not take that. Show it. And it's only because it's 5 years later you feel it that it's safe to speak about now. Incredible. The book of Sirach, chapter 20. Verse 29. Presents and gifts blind the eyes of the wise, and stoppeth his mouth that he cannot reprove. It's because that 501c3, that's what we believe. And it just shows more and more proof. Israelites that got that group all say the same thing. They don't say that the mark of the beast is the chip. They say the mark of the beast is sin. Okay, IUIC teaches a hell doctrine. You know, they want to keep talking about some Christianity, but everything they teach is the same as Christianity. It literally is. Their only difference is they're going to say the Messiah is a so-called black man, and we Sabbath on Saturdays. Everything else, you're the same. So it don't make sense. But it do make sense if you find a common denominator and you understand Esau's history of how he wants to try to control and how to influence the spiritual leaders in our world, even in the Christian church. So they control them. So in exchange, they get bribes, they get money, and in exchange, you know, they can't say certain things. One of them primarily being the mark of the beast is the chip. You know, IUIC says that, oh, Christianity teach, you know, the mark of the beast is the chip. No, they don't. Show me a single Christian church that you show me a Christian church that teaches the mark of the beast is the chip, and I'll show you a Christian church that more than likely does not have a 501c3. Show me a Christian church that teach the mark of the beast is the chip. Show me a Christian church that has a 501c3 that speaks against a future policy that America's going to do. It's even in the 501c3 that even when it comes to elections, you can't speak or run a campaign against another party. You have to just stay out of it. That's what the whole thing's about. It's a bribe. And the scripture said you are not to take a bribe. Because we just read, gifts blind the eyes of the wise. Amos 5:12. For I know your manifold transgressions and your mighty sins. They afflict the just. They take a bribe, and they turn aside the poor in the gate from their right. Okay, 501c3 is a bribe, is a contractual bribe. And whenever the government goes to say something or do something, they can't speak against it. They really can't even speak against, you could say, the individuals in like the White House or whatever. They got to be very careful with their words. Like they're on video, they're on video sitting down with black women, the women in their congregation, and they're actually entertaining the idea that Barack Obama is a so-called black man and that Michelle is a biological black woman. They're entertaining that idea, talking about the black woman just don't get it. The white men, they wives, they get it. The black woman don't get it. I said, so this is how far we've come to where we're going to entertain the idea that Barack Obama is an Israelite and that his and Michelle Obama is an actual biological woman. This is what we're seeing. And you know why that is because they are higher figures in the society and they have a 501c3. So now everything they say is politically correct. But this is what those bribes do. They blind the eyes of the wise that they can't see. You know, so I think it's incredible, and it just goes to show you this is why you have to be careful of who you're listening to, because in the time of trouble, just like when they bring that chip, they're not warning you about it. To this day, they're not warning you about it. But when they bring that chip and you guys and some of your congregation that's going to go and take it, you know what they're going to say in the end? Well, we never really said for you to go take it. We just, we never told you to take it. And that's something you cannot do with Israel. You cannot say, I think in the past, I think it was Priest Abak that said this, but he's like, and even if you do go take the microchip, that's your fault, because common sense should tell you not to take it. And anybody tell you to take, oh no, so you can't do that with Israel. You cannot do that with Israel. Israel is a backsliding children. Your stance has to be firm. You cannot leave any gray areas, because they're going to look back at you and say, you said that it wasn't the mark of the beast. And that's exactly, and here's the thing. These guys, they don't think the blood's on their hands. No, the blood is on your hands. It's on your hands because you kept silent. You kept silent. And when you tell the people that the mark of the beast is not the chip, you're giving your congregation the green light to go and do what they want. And when they do go and take it, they're going to use you as an excuse. And in the end, you're going to try to say, well, I never told you to take it. Oh, nope, don't matter. Because in their eyes, all you did was tell them that the mark of the beast isn't the chip, meaning they're not sinning. So for all they're concerned about, everything you're giving them is just advice. You can't do that. You have to tell them the truth according to the word of the law, the word of the Lord. And you guys think you're just going to give, well, we never told you to take it. Well, you didn't tell them not to either. You spent your entire duration on the internet convincing them that the mark of the beast is not the chip. And then now the chip comes. If one single member of your congregation takes it, it's on you. The only way to make sure that doesn't happen is to start now and speak the truth that the mark of the beast is the chip. You got a lot of work to do. You got to call those churches in Jamaica, everybody you talked on the phone with, and you got to go back on these platforms. And where you told them the mark of the beast ain't the chip, you got to go back on those platforms and say, I got to make a correct. You got a lot of work to do, because if any one of those people going to take it because of the counsel of your leadership, it's on you. Shalom.